Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I'd like to use this time to welcome you at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. And today we'll be briefing you on happenings during the week, especially the achievement that the Liberia National Police has made over the week. At this point, I would like to call on Moses Carter to the table to elaborate on what has happened and what is on hand. Thank you for coming and be with us.
Well, let me say thanks, and it's a pleasure to you, Louis Normal, the head of media relations of the Liberia National Police, for such, organization of this press conference. It's a press conference that we've called you members of the press to brief you on progress made by the Liberia National Police in fight against crime and abuse. The last time we told you that this year is going to be a very different year for our country and our citizens. We told you that for those of our citizens who are bent on causing havoc and chaos for our peaceful citizens, it's no more going to be a holiday. We are prepared, our men are in readiness to move all out there in ensuring that we can clamp down on criminals. And we are very much resolved to make sure that the efforts in clamping down on crimes in our country remains unabated. And so this is why we've invited you members of the press. The Inspector General of Police, Honorable Patrick Tosudu, one who is noted in the history of the LNP for fighting crime, has set his sight on ensuring that this year is going to be a different year. All of his lieutenants, all of us are in readiness to ensure that the philosophy and the vision of the Inspector General in fighting crime is achieved. Having said that, we bring you greetings from the leadership of the Liberia National Police, you members of the press, and those of you following us on social media. We've invited you here today to bring you something very interesting, an interesting development that is of great interest to the people of Liberia, many of whom have complained of being harassed, intimidated, armed, robbed, and you name it, at the hands of a criminal gang called Cuba. So with not much ado, I'd like to go straight into the write-up of what we've prepared here today. But before I do that, let me introduce to you two distinguished investigators. These two investigators are top-notch investigators. Of course, the history of the LNP recorded very highly for the level work that they continue to perform in clamping down on crime. On my far left, I would mean Deputy Commissioner of Police Emmanuel G. Kang. You can call him authority. He's called authority because he has authority in fighting crime. On my far right, I would mean ACP Monroe Dennis. He serves as a deputy head of the investigative arm of the CSD division of the Liberia National Police, and he has been very instrumental in ensuring that the fight against crime and abuse remains unabated. So we've thought to invite these two distinguished, well-schooled investigators to this press conference who will further elaborate on what we'll be telling you here today at this press conference. Having said that, I will go straight into why we call you here today. The Liberia National Police has made a successful crackdown on a notorious organized gang group named and styled Cuba, with the slogan Beleba Face, Cuba by Heart, where it arrested 8 persons, to include its dangerous leader, Vani Kiazolu alias Azonto. And if you look at the back, these arrested persons are displayed in the back with the leader of Cuba at the back of this conference hall. This notorious gang group has been operating in the Pinsville and its surrounding and has rained terror on many residents, peaceful residents of Pinsville, generally and specifically at the Dupo Road Junction community and GSA Road, in which about a month time, the Liberia National Police has received lots of complaints through written accounts and radio information regarding this notorious organized group called Cuba. The later victims are a famous Liberian comedian, Paul Flomo, who was assaulted and armed robbed on December 18, 2020 on Dupo Road during the night hours. Emmanuel D.C. Freeman, whom was also attacked, looted, and burnt down on the 14th of December 2020 in Marshall Community, Malidi County at about 16 hours. Daniel Davis, alias DMX, a Liberian businessman and a resident of Monrovia, was attacked and severely assaulted under his throat while in a local bar at Dupo Road during the early morning hours of Tuesday, January 6, 2021. Interestingly, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and those of you following us on social media, during the crackdown effected by the Liberia National Police, several membership forms, which you have displayed here, were of Cuba, and single barrel guns were discovered. We are now doing everything possible to locate those identified by photos and names on the said mentioned forms for investigative questioning. Meanwhile, you will care to note, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and those of you following on social media, these organized gangs, members of Cuba, have resolved to avail themselves to be hired for any form of criminality, criminal acts, to settle scores with people who are in beef or confusion. Additionally, the Liberia National Police wishes to inform the public that one of its officers, in person of Arnold Dixon, was on the scene when businessman Daniel Davis, alias DMX, was physically assaulted by the group head Azonto, but the officer did not act as law enforcer, who is charged with the responsibility of protecting life and property. Meanwhile, Officer Dixon has been subjected to a professional standard investigation and further action as recommended by the Professional Standard Division after the investigation will take effect. Hence, the Liberia National Police will not encourage, and I repeat, the Liberia National Police will not encourage any form or acts of lawlessness from anyone or individuals bent on terrorizing peaceful citizens and undermining the rule of law. Anyone caught in said acts will be made to face the full weight of the law. The public is urged to report to the Liberia National Police any gang group operating in the confines of the Republic of Liberia, and you can rest assured of our immediate response and that the law will take its course. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and those of you following us on social media, I would like to turn the pendulum over to my distinguished investigators, like I earlier introduced to you, who will further add on to some of the preliminary investigative findings of what we presented to you. So I will turn on to the Deputy Commissioner of CSE Investigation, the authority Emmanuel Do Diriken, to further add on to what I just stated. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Our Chief Spokesperson has spoken, that indeed 2021 is going to be tough, and tough for those who are bent on violating the laws and affecting peaceful residents and all people who are within our border on visitation. And so it's going to be tough, and we are going to be very robust. Trust me, investigatively robust. We want to display here before you 3 single barrel shotguns and 4 rounds recovered during the crackdown. We also want to display to you that these forms you see are forms filled in by members of Cuba. Forms filled out, photo attached by members of Cuba, so as to institutionalize their act and rain terror on our people. They also have blank forms that are encouraging other people to buy into their ideology in affecting peaceful citizens and other nationals within our borders. In order for them to identify themselves further, they have these, as you see, to indicate their ties with one another. We are going to work around the clock to dislodge them, but it's important for the public to also assist us and assist us further. We cannot score success or be successful in the absence of having information from the public. Once we have the information, we will act. And so we are encouraging, like the chief spokesperson has spoken, I've said, we're encouraging everyone to know that we are here for the public, we are the servant of the public, and we are prepared to serve you fully. Give us information and see the results of the action we take. Thanks so much. I will pass on to my deputy for anything further he has to comment.
I think the chief set it all, and of course our spokesperson said it. This is 2021, and of course it will be more robust that anyone can think of. And those wishing to institutionalize criminality, we just want to say they serve as a caveat. We'll go after them. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much that you've listened to our 2 distinguished investigators. Louis, now you can control the rest of the formalities.
Okay, now for each institution will be asking for 1 question. And please, because of time, we'll repeat questions. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. My name is Mr. Khaled from Liberia newspaper. Yesterday we got a first information that the head of this group was arrested, and then today you give additional 7 there. So will you please give us a bit of information on how the next group came up? Did you do further arrest today, or was it just from yesterday?
So the deputy commissioner will further elaborate on that.
Like we informed, it's an ongoing probe, and of course, they have cells. Cuba has identified membership, and they have cells that they are building upon. All right, and so as we go about, we'll continuously bring in people for probe, and so this is why you see our further action led to the additional arrest.
So in addition to what you said, cells, we're talking about, they are a group that are not just specifically focused in one area. They spread themselves in other quarters. And so like he's displayed these forms, it's an organized gang group. And like we said to you, our efforts are aimed at ensuring that this group will be dislodged like we started already. You see those persons that are in there along with the head, all other persons that are connected to Cuba, all other persons that are connected to Cuba will be made to face the full weight of the law. We're going to show you on that.
Something you said earlier that I just gave a bit of clarity on. Are they serving as, at some point, are they serving as proxy or criminal for people who have conflict, when you talk about like people who sometimes have beef and then are they used to serve as a kind of proxy fighters or something?
Like we said, in such an organized group, operation, there are individuals who have, beef or confusion with people, and they want to use other people. They want to use such a group to get at other people. Of course, those investigations, as is being conducted, the findings, we provided you, members of the press, and the charges that are being, considered or levied against these, individuals are in consideration of all of these, findings. So it's basically, a group that is organized to unleash terror on our citizens. And that is something that we are very much resolved to ensuring that no organization or group, criminal group, will unleash any terror on our citizens with impunity.
Okay. My name is Sheikh Jallo and I work for the Hot Pepper newspaper. And from your notes there, the Hot Pepper investigation went on the scene, and then the police officer mentioned on the crime scene the rumor there that he's an aide to Police 101, Sadatu Reed. Has your investigation come up with anything that maybe Sadatu or somebody behind Sadatu has some schools to settle with the DMX man who was involved in the crime?
Okay, so that's a very good question, because this is an ongoing investigation. Like we told you, the officer in question has been forwarded to professional standard for investigation. All right, the outcome of that investigation will establish as to whether the officer acted on instructions or not on instructions. It's too early for us to say whether the officer acted on instruction or not, because our work is based on facts. It's not based on sentiments. All right, so it is for the Professional Standard Division to conduct its investigation, and the outcome of that investigation is what the Inspector General of Police will act upon. But if you can add to that, you can add to that.
Well, when you say he, meaning the police officer?
Yeah, the police officer.
The police officer as bodyguard to the Deputy Inspector General of Police for administration. We have not established yet any criminal involvement of the officer linking to this group.
No, not the criminal involvement. But has there been anything between his boss or somebody related to his boss to the victim that maybe they want to use this group to settle school with him or something like that?
It is not to our knowledge as confirmed that there has been beef, but what we do know is that the likelihood of them knowing one another exists, and so the victim is yet undergoing medical treatment. The details of the information will come forward, and we'll cross-check that and see whether there has been misunderstanding. But until then, we do not have any authentic information concerning setting school against the victim or instrumentalized by our boss, 101.
The police has established that this Cuban group is a very dangerous group, and they've been operating for a long time now, as you can see. Is there any link between them and the previous deaths that have been happening, especially the 4 auditors who died in October?
No, we have not established their involvement with that.
You want me to add to that?
Yeah.
Look, if you were very keen to follow the results from as released by the Attorney General, there was no link whatsoever to this group. All right, our job here investigatively is based on facts. All right, and if for any reason anyone is linked to any crime, it's for us to inform you, members of the press and the public. All right, thank you.
My name is Augustine T12 from Page Africa. Prior to the surfacing of this name Cuba, there have been other names around, like the Sabo unit, like Twin. What is the Liberia National Police is doing about those other units? Today is Cuba, but there are Cuba been existing. The District 13 right heard about the Sabo unit. District 15 heard about the Sabo unit. We also heard about Twin. So what is the Liberia National Police is also doing?
So you see, there is what happens. When we receive, if you follow the write-up, we indicated in the write-up that we've been receiving a lot of complaints from radio stations. We've been receiving a lot of complaints from individuals. And when we receive those complaints, it's for us to investigate the authenticity, or you may say the evidence of facts associated with those complaints. It's not for us to just take someone and charge you and forward you to court on the basis of a mere complaint. All right? So, likewise, that we have indicated, this is also a challenge to members of the public. If you have any facts whatsoever or evidence whatsoever on any group or criminal group that's operating, we are interested in you bringing the facts to us, and trust us, we'll make sure that whatever facts that will be adduced, said persons or person will be made to face the full of the law. You're welcome.
I did hear you talk about having people bringing information to you as it relates to criminal cases in various communities. From what I've just gathered from you, it seems to be a very organized group to the extent that you have several forms with you, all some filming and some not filming. Now, the problem is that once they get arrested, you are forwarded to court for prosecution and taken to jail. At a point in time, we see them coming back in Liberia as we see this. So how effective do you think the police will be in traveling down the issue, not only with Cuba, but with other groups?
Okay.
Our effectiveness rests, police and the court effectiveness rests also with the public. You can have the facts, you can have the evidence, you can have witnesses, but you need victims to show up in court or courts to testify. The failure of such witnesses to show, victims to show up at the court renders the court to use its rule against application filed in by public defender or an attorney for the accused person. So, seeing them in the street or resurfacing doesn't mean that we have not played our part. Many a time we hear people say, oh, the people that were arrested, they are bad. They are only bad because people who complain don't follow up at the court. These matters, especially armed robbery, rape and other issues, are not in any way compromised by us. Are not. So you always find them coming back if at all the public fails to show up in the prosecution of those cases. Besides, people who are raided and brought in for investigation, if at all we don't have facts in those issues, not everyone arrested is established that that person has committed a crime.
So in addition to what the Deputy Commissioner just stated, we are, with the evidence that we already have, coupled with some of the things that the instances we've revealed to you of the acts committed by this gang group, we are also asking members of the public who have been hurt by this group that have not even been named in this report to come to the headquarters of the Liberia National Police and interact with our investigators so we can have further documentation of some of the evils that have been committed by this Cuba group. We are asking members of the public, because like the Deputy Commissioner said, when we found people to court, we have to go further to make a case. And that case must be evidence-based. It's not just on the basis of sentiments. But when people refuse and say because we found people to court and they are now in pre-trial detention, so the case is over, it is not over yet until these people are convicted finally by the court.
Okay, yeah, follow-up question.
One question for institution, please. Yeah.
I just want to find out as to what of those funds are being collected from them. Will you go after them to do the investigation for those acquitting this?
Definitely.
How soon?
But we have commenced already.
The investigation is already ongoing, so it's not just specific time bound, but you can rest assured that we'll go after them. Thank you.
Can you take the last one from me?
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
okay, take the last one from here.
The forms, the evidence provided here seems to be like this group is well organized, and they might have some influential sponsors in the society. Has the police investigation questioned them about anything like sponsorship?
Investigation is ongoing, and in due course, I'm sure our Press and Public Affairs head will update you.
Additional information.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming.